Hey guys, and welcome to Pheas Software. Today I'm going to be unboxing this double bell 804S or Scar H. Hey guys, and welcome back. If you do enjoy this content today, please do consider liking, commenting and subscribing, because those interactions help me get seen by the YouTube algorithms. If you want to stop by my socials and say hello, the Linktree link down below will take you to all of those, including my Discord. Make sure you say hi. Excuse me. If you want to support the channel a little bit more, the join button down below will take you to the channel memberships. 99p a month, totally optional, really appreciated. Custom videos, giveaways, and a bit of a say in the channel's running as well. So we'll get straight into this then. A double bell. I am a big fan of late of the double bell stuff. I think what they're doing is fantastic, and I think it's sort of upping the ante a little bit on what budget airsoft sort of looks like. So in terms of the box then, just a sticker on the front, as we've come to know from double bell. There is literally nothing exciting about this box. Absolutely fine. Now it doesn't actually fit sort of in view of my camera. I can't get the camera high enough to show you the entirety of what's going off, so we'll just have to work around it. So opening the box then, there she is. It is a pretty damn nice piece of kit, I'm not gonna lie. I can just about get just the piece on its own. So we have got a high cap in there, Scar H high cap in tan. Now we specifically got the model with the M-LOK extension on the front end. Now, as part of a full disclosure, I will admit that I have been and skirmished this before this video. So a lot of what I'm going to say is based on actual experience of what I've found with it and thought to it and me actually using it. So largely, I am massively impressed. What initially drew me to it was the extended front end. I just kind of liked it. I liked the sort of developed element of it. It has got a few nicks and scratches on it from where it has obviously been played and run around in a woodland. But, you know, it is a hefty piece of kit. So I'll get sort of straight into it. Obviously, very little in terms of content in the box. No sort of manual. One quick mag, which is compatible with the VFC mags. So since filming this, the new owner has actually been in touch and said he's got battle axe mags to fit, and all they had to do was basically just modify the retention loop where it sits onto the mag catch to get it to feed, fit and feed. So there's an image there just to show you and illustrate to you basically just a little bit of a cutout that he's had to make to get that to work, but he has said that the battle axe ones then fit into the mag well and feed absolutely perfectly. These are like the SR25 type mags. I don't think it's compatible with like the SEMA SR25 mags or anything. I think it is just based on that, the ridge at the back. I think it is the VFC style. So at the front then, we've got the big chunky muzzle brake, because it technically is a 7.62. We've then got an M-LOK extension to our front end there, so which is removable. You just drop out these bolts on each side and this will come off and give you access to the more traditional front end element. So obviously you've got the ability then to add some accessories. You've also got a slightly lower front rail there to accommodate the folded down front sight, which we'll look at in a second. We've got obviously space underneath and space on the right hand side. We've then obviously got an excessively long upper rail there for optics if you need to. Now in terms of the sights, it's on a pin, so it's stuck up. I have to push the little pin in to fold it down or flip it up. And the rear sight is just flip up. Now I don't think I've quite got enough room. I have nearly, not quite. You know, it's fairly easy to get down, but they are not the greatest looking sights, and you know, possibly would be better with some sort of sight on there just to add to it. Now it is metal upper. It is pretty bronze, I'm not going to lie to you, but I actually quite like it. I like that there is sort of a mixture of tones in there. However, in woodland, it's obviously not going to do you any favours. It's only when the mag gets in it, for me, that it really comes into its own as being like, wow, that's looking something quite beastie and quite beefy, and I am a particular fan of the big chunky mags like the G3 mags I like, that kind of thing. I just think that they look great. So moving back then, we've got our charging handle there, which exposes, does look back, it exposes our hop unit. I believe there is a way to change this ambidextrously, but I cannot find how to do so. Online, I suspect you might have to drop the gearbox out to do it. I'll have a look as part of the disassembly video. But it is locked back on the bolt release, so you can adjust the hop unit. It looks like a sort of traditional M4 type hop unit, and then the mag comes out ambidextrously, which is quite nice. Button on this side and an extra release on that side to drop it out. We'll discuss the high cap shortly, and when I press the bolt release, it pings back forward. Now that's possibly one of the most satisfying bolt releases I've seen on an AEG. The only one that gets close to that for me is an M14. Now, what I would say is I can't verify the quality of that metal, so doing that often is probably not the best thing. As lovely as it feels, it's probably not the best thing, because you're possibly going to ping something off, particularly this, which is going to cause issues. We've then got our pistol grip selector. So it does look quite M4-esque, that we've got a selector apart from it doesn't go round. We've just got safe at the bottom, so physically blocked, single shot, and full auto, and a deep trigger pull. We've got a nice curved trigger. It looks quite AR-esque, but I can see that it is a slightly different shape to a traditional M4 trigger. Magwell is largely blocked off in there. The mag is a high cap, so if you are going to fill this, remember with a high cap, do not put BBs into there. They go straight into the hatch. Close the mag, make sure to keep it upright, and there is a winding wheel on the bottom that you're going to largely keep it upright and use it winding. The mechanism then feeds the BBs up the tube, and then you keep winding and it tensions a spring inside of there, which will only tension so far. You will get a clicking noise, which you'll know straight away when the spring's fully wound. Obviously, as you're playing, every so often, 20, 30, 40 rounds, just make sure you keep it topped up, because nobody wants to jump out on Sunday, start shooting, and you've not wound your mag and you're not feeding anything, because that's not going to be nice for you. So high cap. I picked up a second one. A second double bell high cap to go with it. They absolutely fed flawlessly. I had not a single issue with it at all whatsoever. In terms of range, I was easily hitting 50 plus meters without any problems whatsoever. I was really, really happy with that. In terms of FPS, I think it was just under 30, just under 350, but I'll put the chrono video in it to show you as well. But we'll finish the overview of the body. So at the back then, we've got, the plastic is a little bit disappointing. It looks a little bit cheap. Yes, it is. It's double bell. So, we have to compromise somewhere. So at the back, we've got the button that raises the cheek rest. We've got a button to fold it, and the wiring is directly from the back of the gearbox into the stock. So just be careful so that you don't nip it. You don't want to catch it and damage it. We've got an adjuster button there, when I press it, that allows us to adjust up to 6 positions out. And then to get the battery space in, there is a pin that we just push out. The stop plate comes off. That is quite wobbly when the pin's in. There's a bit of a wobble to that. And then we're accessing the battery space, and we've got a mini Tamiya, which can't be helped really, I suppose. It is what it is. And our battery space is fairly cramped in there. Now, what's even worse is that this, I don't know if you can see it, that is an extension onto the end. So somebody has cut the wire short and included an extension to bridge the wiring gap. The connector is probably about 1 inch inside of the stock there. I don't know if the camera's going to get that in there. It's just inside there, which I'm not sure if that's factory deliberate, factory accidental, and somebody's picked it up in quality control or what. It's just a little bit disappointing that is like that. But the stock does fold round, keeping the battery in there, and it locks into place. It says not very well. Again, there we go. It locks into place, so you can store it with the stock folded, or play with it like that if you really want. Just again, as you're folding it back open again, just make sure you look after those wires, because what you don't want to do is flip that round too quick, munch those wires up, because you're going to cause yourself issues. So what we're going to do now is we'll show you the if my GoPro works that day. I'll show you a little bit of footage, hopefully, of it shooting, and I'll show the usual videos, and then we'll come back and discuss. We'll do the gloved operation, and we'll do some battery stuff as well. Double overspinner. So max 320, minimum 314, average 318.1. Pretty decent actually. So rate of fire then on 11.1. About 20 rounds a second. Nice. About 12.5 rounds a second. Little spread at the end, easily hitting out over 50 meters. Okay, so we've had a look at that then. So range wise, easily 50 plus meters. I was really happy with the range. You know, I was hitting things that I didn't think I was going to hit, and hitting them quite easily, basically. And people sort of on the skirmish day seem to be like, wow, that's pretty decent range out of it. So I was really happy with that. In terms of rate of fire then, about 12.5 rounds a second on a 7.4. Pretty respectable, fairly standard to what we're seeing. About 20 rounds per second on an 11.1. Again, fairly standard, and it's about what we're seeing in general. And then the FPS then was high of 316, the low of 309, an average of about 313 FPS or thereabouts. So well within UK limits. I suspect the factory ones are coming out at about 400 FPS. But I can't verify that, you know, this was bought in the UK market. But I actually had an absolute ball running this and enjoyed it immensely, and I found it was great. Thought it was great and operated well. I am still disappointed in the plastic. I just think the plastic was a little bit just meh, and I think with how nice the finish is on the metal upper, I just think the plastic just looks a little bit boring. The pistol grip, I did forget to comment, is pretty nice and comfortable. It's not really got the sharp edges because they've rounded them quite nicely, so it is nice to grab hold of. You know, it's texturing is helping, particularly if you've got gloves on and things, so that felt quite nice. The battery space was limiting, both because you had to have a little crappy extension on, which I replaced with a mini Tamiya to Dean's to run my Dean's batteries, but then it's just a small space in general. So what I'll do first is I'll chuck this stock back on, put the pin back through, and we'll do the gloved operation then. So, got my gloves on, and basically in terms of operating, I can definitely get that front sight flipped up, flipped down. I can definitely get that rear sight up and down. I can definitely operate the selector with ease. The mag is easy to get in and out, and in terms of using the mag, because it is quite an embellished catch, it's a little bit fiddly, but I cannot get that open. I can put it in. I can definitely wind that with my gloves on without any issues whatsoever. The mag's coming in and out. In terms of the hop unit then, I can visually see that I'm rolling it. I couldn't tell you that I'm rolling it necessarily, so I have no idea what type of sort of distance I've put on that hop unit or anything like that. I can definitely operate that's so satisfying, definitely operate the bolt release and the stock as well, in terms of the cheek riser, the folding and the adjusting, which is quite stiff. The adjuster for position, quite stiff to operate, and even the stock, a little bit fiddly to get that pin, but I can do it with my gloves, so a battery change is not beyond the realms of expectation to be able to do mid-game. I'm just going to fold that like that so you can see into the stock, just see how tiny that space is in there to get a battery in it. So I'm happy then that gloved operation is pretty smooth and easy. So let's have a look at the battery space then. Just make sure I've not crimped those wires. I have not. So we're looking pretty small. So if I bring in the batteries that I use for the rate of fire test, so that's the 11.1 volt battery. Now, let's have a look. It will not go in there. That battery will not go in, both in terms of length. If I put that in, oh no, lengthwise it'd be all right. I've got some length, and obviously I can extend that out because I have got that ability to adjust outwards. In terms of the 7.4 volt then that I use for the rate of fire test, that battery will go in easily, and I can get the wiring in. There's plenty of space in there for that one, so that is a good option. I've then got an 11.1 1200. Now I don't think that will go directly in, and it doesn't. However, if I was going to run my stock extended slightly, I think that would go in. I've got an almost identical 7.4 1200. That's got the exact same problem. But what I did end up running is I was running my 11.1 short battery like that, which has got absolutely mountains of room to sit in there. But what it does mean is that I am having to run at least 2 of these a day because Pheas is pretty trigger happy. Alternatively, I have also got a 7.4 in a similar sort of size. There is loads of room in there for that to go in there and put in all the wiring and still adjust that if I wanted out to different positions. But generally speaking, I found that that was the right distance with the butt plate on to get into my shoulder, and it felt comfortable. So overall then, battery space, a little bit disappointing. You know, I get that there's inner workings in there to operate the extending stock. I get that, and it's still a little bit disappointing. I would hope for a little bit more, but you know, it is what it is. But it's not the worst that I've ever seen. The upper, I absolutely love the upper. The performance I've been really happy with. The plastic is a little bit disappointing, looks a little bit cheap, but generally overall, considering it's double bell, you know, that it's not a cheap double bell, but it's not expensive either. You know, you're getting an awful lot for your money there, and I have thoroughly enjoyed it immensely. In terms of build, it is solid. There's a little bit of wobbling, which is mostly the charging handle. After that, there's nothing other than the high cap rattle and maybe a little bit of the battery rolling about in the back. Range was really good. Accuracy, I was happy with. A little bit of a spread towards the end, but I was really happy with that in general. Really happy with that in general, actually. You know, it is a pretty solid piece of kit if you want this sort of platform in terms of airsoft, and it's not often that you see something like this knocking about in a sea of M4 or AR variants. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I've enjoyed it immensely. I particularly like, it's not often I like blinging things, but the blinging bronze upper is pretty damn nice to me. So please do remember to like, comment and subscribe. I will leave the usual photos at the end, and I will see you next time. Bye.